Bunnytail Designs Co. is out of this galaxy, with bags for any and every occasion you just may need. Maximum effort was put into every bag, and there's koozies too. Whether you're raising muggles or wizards, these are the bags for you. Or hunting demons, or running from demigorgons, or traveling the galaxy. So get a bag and peep that fit. Great for kids too. Cheers.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of hopsgeeknews, your home for comic books, movies, TV shows, and we typically feature a beer of the week. I am Matt. Alongside me, as always, is Lauren. In today's topic, we're going to be talking all about Ahsoka Tano, our favorite citizen. Of course, this is your first time hanging out with us, please go ahead, stick around, like, subscribe, share, follow, hit the notification button. Go ahead, drop a review, help the algorithm, share the good word of what we do here. We typically start off with our beer of the week, and then we go into what we've been reading or watching, where we give comic book recommendations and often movie, TV recommendations. And then we go into some news, followed up with our main topic, which will be time-stamped. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. It is Star Wars month. I'm in my Ahsoka Roosevelt's Performance hoodie. And then I know Lauren's got her universe, because her universe also, if you don't know, Ashley Eckstein, that's her company who voiced Ahsoka in the Clone Wars and Rebels TV shows. Now, my beer of the week is from Burial Brewing out of Asheville, North Carolina. It is a measured precision of veracity IPA, 7%. Burial is one of my favorite breweries. I really, really absolutely just love them so much. And they do a lot of really good stuff out in North Carolina, especially when Asheville got hit. They did a lot for the community there. So if you like beer, support them. But this show is not specifically about beer. If you don't like beer, good news for you. We just like to talk pop culture. So I'm going to throw it to Lauren here in a second, who's putting her headphones back on after she put on her Ahsoka Tano sweatshirt, that poser. And Lauren, hi. Why don't you tell us all about her universe? You are no Jedi. You are a citizen. You've got your Ahsoka ears even. That's pretty cool.
Yes, and my Ahsoka ears are actually her universe too. So Ashley Eckstein herself designed this. This used to be the only pair of Ahsoka ears you could get, and they were really hard to get. And now they make some other beautiful ones too that you can get at the parks. And yes, my I Am No Jedi. I got this at Disney Springs. I love her universe. I'm obviously a sucker for it. They make gorgeous stuff, and
it's your version, of
Roosevelt's. Yeah, 100%.
I love Roosevelt's. You love her universe. Maybe one day they'll come and do good things with us. I don't know.
I will. I haven't modeled since I was about 5 years old at the mall, but I will model whatever she wants me to model.
I'm telling you, man.
So my beer, though, is not her universe. My beer is Tactical Brewing with Darth Jar Jar, and it says Misa Sith is what it's called. I was going to say,
why are you not talking like Jar Jar right now? There's something wrong with this.
This beer is an Imperial. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I did Misa Sith. That's about as far as I go. It's an Imperial Hazy with Matuka, Amplifier, Mosaic Cryo, and Anchovy hops. I don't know why anchovy hops are so good. I've been hearing that more lately, and it always seems to be phenomenal.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, that's such
anchovy hops.
Fun
like, are we talking the fish?
I don't know. Probably not.
Well, let's hope not, because that's weird.
But I bought this shirt too, and it's beautiful. But I don't have this shirt on.
I do. I am jealous because me. I love some Jar Jar. I do have my Ahsoka little toy here, but yeah, that's.
I have one too. Wait, which one do you have?
I don't remember what the box is because I did it for
you have
mine's vastly different.
Yours is better because yours is cartoon.
Mine's actually
Rosario
from
Dawson.
Clone Wars.
Not that I don't love her.
Look at us. I do love them both, but my Leikus are.
And I got a little.
Mine's cartoon accurate. I have a bunch of my Legos. I have a few Ahsoka Legos as well, so no big deal. I also have her ship, her Lego ship from the Ahsoka TV show. And I have Ghost. So
that's fun. You have Ghost. That wins. You have Ghost.
You're right. I do. I automatically win. So let's go into what we've been reading or watching. Now, I have quite the list.
You do, man. You killed it this week.
I got a lot of comic recs for you guys this week, and I have watched a couple things, so we're going to kick it off. It's a Star Wars episode. I'm going to kick it off with Star Wars #1 from Marvel Comics. It is from Alex Segarra, Phil Noto, and Clayton Cowles. This takes place after Return of the Jedi. Now, the New Republic, I should say, is having problems, getting planets to join them because they don't offer protection. They just aren't buying what the New Republic is
Wait,
selling.
this was the one that's a spin-off of the new comic book day, right?
I think
The new comic book day had, I think, 3 different stories in it, and then it was said like to be continued in Star Wars #1. So I think the first one,
yes. I didn't
and it
get
has Luke in it and somebody else.
Yeah, so Luke's in this,
Yeah.
and
So
then
if you,
Luke's on a mission. Basically, they're flying around. They come upon an Imperial Star Destroyer ran by pirates, and they go down on a planet, chase this guy who sends Luke flying, and there's more to be discovered there. And Princess Leia is having a lot of her own problems with diplomacy, and then Han is off on his own mission as well, with a bounty hunter. So it is definitely worth the read. It's taking place after Return of the Jedi with our characters, and I will tell you right now, like Phil really captures what there's a full shot of Princess Leia's face, and it looks just like young Carrie Fisher. That
I
it
love
took
when
them
they do
to
that.
It was,
Yeah.
it was beautiful. The art was beautiful. So recommend that now face arc between Harvey Dent, and it's really a good character study into the mind of Harvey Dent and how sympathetic and tragic he could often be seen as. And the artwork by Fabio and Ivan is gorgeous, and what Christian Ward does, it's not action packed necessarily. There are action sequences, and the way it wraps up I did not see coming, so I cannot recommend that one enough. Another DC comic was Absolute Green Lantern issue #2 from Al Ewing, Genoa Lindsay, and Lucas Gattoni. This one is interesting. It's from the Absolute Universe. Hal, he has this weird black hand thing going on, and we kind of, that gets Guy Gardner is a sheriff, and we see him get absolutely just turned to a pink mist. And there's some brutal scenes in this issue. It really kind of crazy. Abin Sur just comes to Earth and cleans house essentially. And then my last comic book, I will say, is The Moon is Following Us, issue #9 from Daniel Warren Johnson, Riley Rossmo, and Mike Spicer. This is the penultimate issue because the series is set to end with issue 10. I've been reviewing every single issue. It's basically the way I can describe what this comic continues to do after 9 issues is blow my mind and put a shotgun to my heart and pull the trigger. It is so emotional. It is so action-packed. It gets your heart pounding. And it's incredibly good. It's from Image Comics. Can't believe it's coming to an end. And the cliffhanger that we got at the end of this issue, I'm just mind blown from. It's just amazing. It's truly amazing. And now, before I go into some of the TV shows and movies I might have watched, Lauren, what was yours this week?
So I only did one, so you really put me to shame. But I did a phenomenal one.
You did?
I did Laura Kinney Wolverine.
Oh, Wolverine, yes.
And I had read a Laura Kinney comic years ago, and I didn't really love it. I felt like it was too young. This run has just been amazing from beginning to end. This was issue number 6. The last 2 issues were with Bucky or Revolution. This issue is completely off the wall because it is not connected to the last issue at all. It is connected to the last issue, but basically Laura wakes up and it's Christmas morning, and her dad's Logan, and he's there, and like she doesn't remember that she's Wolverine, and they have her convinced that the Wolverine memories that she has were things that she created and stories she created to deal with some other trauma that happened in her life.
Okay.
And so there was no indication of what's happening, of what's real, of how she got there. The last time we saw her, she was fighting, Nazis with Bucky. But I've just loved this comic, and the art has been phenomenal, and like the story has been great, and the just 2 of them are together are amazing. Like it starts off with like she left Krakoa and she doesn't know what to do because Krakoa fell, and obviously Laura is like hiding her feelings in her work, and she's just going to do whatever she can to help mutants. But she had like a team up with Daredevil, Elektra, and then she was with Bucky, and when she was Daredevil, or when she was with Daredevil, like Luke Cage was the mayor, and so it's just been so fun. So there's obviously
that's cool
a lot
seeing
of
her with other Marvel characters. That's something you really don't get in a Wolverine comic. I really feel like is more normally Wolverine's either with the X-Men or by himself. And now I know this is a Laura Kinney, and so I think it's really interesting that they open it up to somebody like when are you going to see Daredevil and Wolverine together? So putting Laura and Elektra together is really kind of cool to me.
Well, I mean, you do see Wolverine with a lot of other people, but it's always like for like the Ben Percy run where he did 50 issues. Like he had a team up with Black Panther, he had a team up with Spider-Man, he had a team up with Deadpool. But
those are like big hitters, whereas Daredevil Elektra isn't that one that's the top of anybody's list. So I think to put her different with those 2 together, I think is actually really intriguing to me. It makes me want to read it.
And you absolutely should. And I didn't really know much about Laura Kinney outside. It's always like, oh, it's just the younger Wolverine. Oh, it's Wolverine's daughter. It's it's a clone of whatever. But the way they're doing it, and like even when Bucky showed up, she's like, you were looking for my dad, weren't you? And he's like, I'm not gonna lie, I was. He's like, but it worked out well that
I would
you
kind
did
of
great
love to
together.
see those interactions in the MCU. I would love to
Oh
see
my gosh,
Daphne
yes.
Keane come to the MCU for sure.
And I feel like that's when a comic book is so freaking good and the characters are so good that you're like, I want to see this play out on the big screen. Because that was my first thought too. I'd love to see, old man
Sebastian
Bucky
Stan,
because she's
that'd be
making
cool.
jokes about him being old and like she's very clearly young. But yeah, Daphne King and Sebastian Stan, get them together on the screen. That would be awesome.
That would be cool.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm loving that. That's Erica Schultz, Giada Belvisa. It's been fantastic. And I watched Dead City this week.
Okay,
I did a review on it.
Walking Dead is back. Yeah, how'd you like it?
It was really good. I thought it was a great introduction to season 2. I will say, I'm going to be completely honest. Like, we did get screeners for this, so I wrote the review and I did the reel.
No big deal.
When the 3, well, no, I'm disclaiming that because
I
sometimes
know.
I feel like there's prejudice of like, well, you're going to hype it up so you get screeners next time. No, I'll be completely honest. When they did the spin-offs, I did watch all 3 without screeners, and Dead City was the least of the 3. The Negan and Maggie, or not Negan and Maggie. The Ones Who Live with Rick and Michonne was my absolute favorite. That was phenomenal. Then I liked Daryl Dixon, and then I liked Dead City last year, but I didn't love it. But I really liked this first episode. I like what they're doing. They're having people still drawn to New York City, despite the fact that it's covered in zombies and it's the apocalypse. There's still that appeal of people wanting to go to New York. It's still like, the greatest city in the world kind of thing, which I think is really cool. Mm-hmm. And they figured out a way to make electricity out of the methane from zombies. So they're lighting
that's something I've never really seen before.
Right. And they actually mentioned that at New York Comic Con, and they're like, if you pay close attention, there'll be a recipe for exactly how to turn zombies into electricity. And like and this was even in the trailer, so I'm not giving anything that wasn't in the trailer.
Right.
Like when they lit up Radio City Music Hall, I thought that was, so cool, because like when you see Radio City Music Hall, like what do you think of when you see that?
I mean, that's just live from New York, things like, live
or like
TV
the Rockettes,
or
like,
the
parade.
Radio City Music Hall, you always think of, entertainment, I guess is
right. I always think of the Rockettes kind of thing. So to me, it's like Christmas in New York is where my head goes. So to see it like lit up. Oh, and Negan has a new Lucille, but Negan's not fully in control of his actions either.
What?
So you don't know. Poor Negan keeps getting played, man. But you really don't know. Okay, so I still don't know. Is Negan a good guy who wants to be bad, or is Negan a bad guy who wants to be good?
I fell off the show when he killed Glenn, so you tell me.
So he fell off after his first appearance?
I fell off a long time ago, man. You tell me.
But I've always it's a great character, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, what he puts into it, because obviously I have very mixed emotions about all his characters because, fuck you, John Winchester. So I'm loving it because Negan, you think like, oh, he's a good guy, he's so sweet, and then he does something that you're like, ooh, only somebody evil would do
you
that.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, and Maggie clearly had some feelings of like feeling bad for him last season, but she still used him, but you can't blame her that she used him, and then Negan's kind of okay with the fact that she did use him.
Weird.
So it's complicated. I'm liking it. I haven't watched ahead. I gotta watch episode 2 before it comes out so I can write another review, but yeah.
Gotta watch ahead. Yeah, I watched The Surfer starring Nicolas Cage. That was something that I watched before it came out. Did a little review. It's fun because he goes back home to his Australian childhood home to try and buy it. And there's a gang of surfer dudes who are like, no, you and your son aren't allowed here. And it becomes really unhinged to Nicolas Cage, which is one of my favorite versions of Nicolas Cage. So yeah, I recommend for folks if you're looking for a good movie to check out, go check out The Surfer. That's out in select theaters. And, Thunderbolts I saw for the second time. I liked it still. I did. I mean, I've got the Regal Unlimited. I had Monday off. It was raining. I cleaned my garage. So I was, I saw Sinners twice already, so I don't need to see that again right now. And there's nothing else out in theaters. And I said, let's go check out Thunderbolts. Let's see how it holds up on a second viewing. And it still held up for me. I was the only person in the theater, so it's essentially Regal Unlimited was Monday at noon. Yeah, it was Monday at noon. So it was kind of fun getting that theater to yourself, getting to just chill and relax and escape for a couple hours. The movie's still just as emotional. I really enjoy those emotional beats. I'm not sure I agree with their marketing so soon of changing it to the new Avengers. I understand
that
why
didn't
they did
seem
it,
fair.
but I feel like they should have waited another weekend, to
Well, I guess their comic book, though, just switched from Thunderbolts to New
Yeah, so
Avengers, so I wonder if that's why.
And I know a lot of people are probably like, what the hell's going on? I actually also think this might bring about a better version of the MCU if they are actually going to have different factions of the Avengers, you know, West Coast Avengers, Secret Avengers.
I was waiting for them, yeah. I know, yeah, we did a whole episode on that, and I did talk about that. But you know, one of the things I didn't mention when we did talk about it is at one point John Walker says "on your left," and it enraged me.
Yes, he does.
I was so angry when he said that.
I caught that the second time, not the first time, funny enough, after we recorded. But you guys can go listen to our thoughts there. Shout out to Sailfish Comics in Greensboro, North Carolina. I went to Free Comic Book Day there. Their shop is amazing. It's really well set up. I picked up some graphic novels of Fantastic Four because I've never fully gotten into them. So I'm going to read some Fantastic Four.
And Superman. We got to read a lot of Superman and Fantastic Four. I'm excited.
But one thing their shop does well is they have the previous issue. So if you want to come in and you want to find something and you're reading it and you missed an issue, they have a section that's previous issue by their new comic book section. So it's really, really beautiful.
Do you know we have a brewery named Sailfish?
Really? There is doesn't surprise me, but their comic book shop is really fun. I recommend there. It's in downtown Greensboro. Go check them out. Obviously Andor. I can't wait to really break down and talk Andor.
I still have 2 more to watch.
Oh my God.
Oh, we'll be doing that next week. That's our episode next week. So everybody has time to finish it and catch up before we talk about it.
Yeah, cannot wait. It ends next week, so yeah. And then Tales from the Underworld, I've watched the first 3 episodes of. So that's all I've got.
I watched all of that.
You did? All right. Well,
and I did post a reel about how it connects to Dark Disciple. I did enjoy it. So the second 3, are about Cad Bane.
Yeah, that's why I kind of stopped after Asajj, because Asajj, spoiler, was back, and I was like, this is all is right. And then they moved on from her, and I was like, I wasn't ready.
It does take. It's 3 and 3 episodes. I don't know why it wasn't just 2 episodes.
And they're shorts, yeah.
I mean, I guess because there's time jumps a little, but not really.
Yeah, not
With Cad Bane, there's more time jumps, but I won't say anything since you haven't seen it.
That's fine.
But yeah, we'll talk about that next week when we talk about Andor.
Yeah, we'll talk about it a bit next week as well. So let's go into some news then. This first piece of news appeals to you, not me.
Dexter Resurrection will be out July 11th on Showtime. Yes. We'll just keep watching Dexter until they figure out how to end it properly. Until then, I'm on the hook.
She's on the hook no matter what. I understand, because honestly, this next piece of news I enjoyed and I didn't expect to, which is Minecraft is coming to digital May 13th. I hate to admit that I enjoyed that movie. I sing Steve's Lava Kitchen daily.
Oh, are they saying Lava Kitchen, not Lava Chicken?
Oh, it's lava chicken. No, it's lava chicken. I don't know why I said kitchen. No, I was wrong.
I have not seen it, but my kids have been saying chicken.
That. Yeah, it's tasty as hell. Ooh, mamacita. Yeah, no, my kids sing it.
Can't sing anymore. We'll get
in my head. And yeah, so that's what I have. What's this Eric Kripke news you got?
So we all know that Jared Padalecki and Misha Collins are joining season 5 of The Boys. However, Eric Kripke has come out and definitively said that Jensen, Jared, and Misha will all be in a scene together.
Apparently, Jared and Misha are playing major characters that really impact the main cast. So I'm very intrigued by that news, too.
So I did see a clip because, they're doing conventions together all year long everywhere. And so there was talk of, I guess, when the first day the 3 of them were on set together, Phil Segrisha was directing, which you see Phil Segrisha at the end of every The Boys episode, but he was in Supernatural, I don't know if he was in there the whole time or not, but he was in probably the whole time, if not, whatever. So Phil Segrisha's like, I want you boys to go ahead and apologize to the staff right now for everything that you're going to do. Because if anybody who has watched any Supernatural outtakes, they goofed around a lot.
Yeah.
Ryan Curtis even made a comment about how people would get annoyed with them fooling around because it was like they were going home to a hotel room, whereas a lot of the other people lived in Vancouver and were going home. And they were he made a comment of sometimes we're yeah, can we just get this done? Please stop so
we can go home. I know, oh man, that is good. I am excited to see all of them back again on screen. Yeah, they're doing.
It's the first time in 5 years, the 3 of them, because they left March 2020 was I think the last time they were recording together, the 3 of them, because then Misha didn't come back the last 2 episodes, so it's been 5 years.
Will never make sense to me at all, but whatever. I
they just need to bring back Supernatural so they can fix it.
They do. Now, Robert Downey Jr., despite not having any marketing for Ironheart yet.
We're seeing it now.
Yeah, slowly. But RDJ gave Dominique Thorne his blessing, said the show was great. I can't wait to see it June 24th on Disney Plus, in case you did not know it was coming out. And then Lauren thinks General Gracious. It's General Grievous, Lauren.
Autocorrect.
General Grievous is
General Kenobi.
He's General Gracious. Maybe he's turned into a leaf. I don't know. He didn't actually die on
General Gracious.
He's turned into
He's just so thankful he survived Obi-Wan Kenobi trying to kill him.
General Kenobi, the negotiator. Thank you for negotiating my life.
Stupid autocorrect.
Yes. Blame the autocorrect. Yes, as we all do.
General Gracious.
Oh my gosh. Well, folks, we're gonna go ahead and dive into Ahsoka Tano now. Get ready, as we are going to break down her appearances throughout her entire existence. We're going to talk about...
It was a lot more than I thought it was.
There's a lot. There isn't a lot, but Ahsoka is arguably both of our most favorite non-Jedi, because she's not technically a Jedi, but she's a Jedi. She's a Force wielder. I love her. Okay, I would die for her and Mon Mothma today if they asked me to. So take that for what you will. We will be back in just a second.
Bunnytail Designs Co. is out of this galaxy, with bags for any and every occasion you just may need. Maximum effort was put into every bag, and there's koozies too. Whether you're raising muggles or wizards, these are the bags for you. Or hunting demons, or running from demigorgons, or traveling the galaxy. So get a bag and peep that fit. Great for kids too. Cheers.
Hello there. We're back. We are just a couple of citizens back to talk about Ahsoka Tano and the cartoons. We're going to talk the live action. Lauren's going to break down the novel, and going to dive into it. So, voiced by Ashley Eckstein, and then played in the live action version by Rosario Dawson, created by George Lucas and Dave Filoni. Now, spoilers for Star Wars Rebels, the cartoon, and the Clone Wars, the cartoon, Tales of the Jedi, the cartoon, the live action Mandalorian show, and of course the Ahsoka show and novel. So before we get there, just spoiler disclaimer there. Lauren, why don't you go ahead and kick us off real quick?
So we actually see baby Ahsoka in Tales of the Jedi, Episode 1, Life and Death. So this is 36 BBY. Ahsoka is born on the planet Shili. Her species is Tugrata, and she shows force sensitivity as a toddler. While with her mother, they're hunting, and she's got Ahsoka like in the little carrier, and suddenly they come face to face with a Star Wars-looking saber-toothed tiger creature. Ooh. Despite the mom's best efforts, Ahsoka is taken by the tiger, but she Jedi bonds with it and then rides it back to her village.
As one does.
When the mother questions, how is this possible? The old wise woman in the village, who would also be referred to as the crazy village lady in Moana, says, quote, Ahsoka is Jedi, end quote.
Interesting. Yes. Now, in the Clone Wars movie, which came out in 2003, Anakin is unwillingly assigned a Padawan who was sent by Yoda. It's Ahsoka Tano. Together, they rescue Jabba the Hutt's son, Rota. Yeah, you're actually going to see him in a live action coming up here in the Mandalorian show. Funny fact.
Jeremy Allen.
He's a beefcake,
Shameless.
Man. Yes.
Now it's still on Just Me.
No, it's not. Oh, it is. Whoops. I was wondering why you were waving at me. I was like, what are you waving at? What's going on there? Now, despite Dooku and Asajj Ventress's attempts to stop them, they were just trying to make Jabba think the Jedi had kidnapped him so as to try and get Jabba on the side of the Separatists. In the end, despite Anakin not wanting a Padawan, they actually work pretty well together. They save Rhoda, and then they bond.
Aww.
They do. Beautiful.
So, Tales of the Jedi Episode 5, called Practice Makes Perfect. This takes place during the Clone Wars series when Ahsoka was still Anakin's Padawan. We see a very young Ahsoka training while Obi-Wan and Anakin watch. Obi-Wan praises her talents and skill while Anakin is being kind of a jerk.
As usual.
Tells her the Padawan test is lousy, and he's got a real test for her, though. So they go and they meet Captain Rex, and she goes up against some clone troopers. Ahsoka keeps getting knocked out, and Anakin explains that this is the best way he can protect her to properly prepare her, because he knows those battle droids are garbage, and that she can easily beat them. So she gets better, and then Rex knocks her out, and then we actually cut to a future scene During Order 66, when it's executed, and we talked about this last week, and we will talk about this again.
Yes.
Rex and Ahsoka, once Rex has had his mind chip taken out, they actually go up against the same clone troopers who she trained with years before, and Rex tells her, let's hope all that training paid off. So in the end, Anakin did save Ahsoka.
He really did. She's very tenacious, like in her fighting styles. I love her fighting style. It's very unique. She's got the double lightsabers, but she doesn't hold them like traditionally, I do love her fighting style. She's very nimble. She can freaking move.
She's little. It's like Black Widow. It's like she uses her tiny stature to her advantage.
She really does.
No.
So when we get
to drinking out of the Darth Vader sipper.
Of course. Now it's got water in it. I'm drinking out of the Darth Vader sipper. For those of you who don't know it, Revenge of the Sith. Shout out. Now in the Clone Wars TV series, she's in 70 episodes total. So we're gonna go ahead and try to keep the major moments in the Clone Wars, and below is actually the moments Disney felt worthy enough of making it onto the official StarWars.com page for the Clone Wars. Now, with her new master, who she calls Sky Guy, and who calls her Snips, Anakin and Ahsoka are in the Clone Wars. This takes place between episodes 2 and 3, with the last 4 episodes occurring during episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. We broke that down for you last week in chronological order. Good Lord. And now, during the Clone Wars conflict, Ahsoka is often fighting alongside a clone trooper, Captain Rex, who can actually be seen on Endor during Episode 6, Return of the Jedi.
Shout out for you, Riley.
Yeah, so we went ahead and there was a whole thing on our Discord movie watch with our Patreons. It was kind of funny. Some DT thinks, no, that's just a random guy. Riley says, no, it is. And I love that. It's
no, I think Riley was saying it wasn't. I don't remember now, but he was getting mad that I kept saying it was Rex. In my heart, I believe it's Rex.
I believe it's Rex.
Who knows? I drink all day Sunday. I could be
even
wrong.
Say that it's Rex? Like, didn't they just go out and say that? Yeah, no, that's Rex. Even though we clearly could come on, they weren't ever thinking that. That was just one of those past.
I would say I can fact check it, but in my heart, the guy with the beard is Old Man Rex. And they did say that Rex was on Endor at the end of Rebels.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say it's him. You know what? In my heart of hearts, it's him.
My heart fact checked it, and it's true.
Exactly. Now, at one point, Ahsoka saves Rex and fights off General Grievous. This gets her the respect of the Clone Army.
Some people may know him as General Gracious.
You broke up.
I just phrased. I said some people may know him as General Gracious, and I broke up. Awesome. Okay, I'm just going to mute myself. Man.
Lauren makes a joke and she broke up. That's tough. It wasn't all peaches, though, because she was young and made some big mistakes as well. During her battle as commander, Ahsoka ignored a direct order to retreat, which cost a lot of clone lives that she was responsible for. Ahsoka learns quite a bit about politics through being friends with Anakin's baby's mom, Padme Amidala. Now, on Raxus with Padme, Ahsoka met a young separatist named Lux Bonteri. They did some bonding, as the kids would call it, of course, and suddenly Ahsoka viewed the enemy a bit differently. She realized some people had very good reasons for not wanting to be part of the Republic. And that's one of the beauties about what this expanded universe of Star Wars does, is they really humanize and bring humanity to war. I mean, you hear stories in war all the time about people being human. Like, at the end of the day, we may be fighting humans on humans in real life, but you hear stories of, the soccer game on Christmas during World War I.
I love that story.
It's none of us want to be here. It's just we're at the mercy of
because
politics,
you're fighting. The battles of the people who made the decisions that you're not in the room when they're making those decisions.
Exactly. Like it just, yeah. So why don't you go ahead and talk about her leadership and how she grew up?
Okay. So what was the last thing you said?
We are at, she's became a pretty good damn leader.
Okay. So as the Clone Wars went on, Ahsoka grew up and became a damn good leader, how you said. So however, even good leaders do get kidnapped. She was taken captive by the Trandoshans to be hunted for sport. She successfully, though, led a revolt and freed them all. And Chewbacca was actually there.
Yeah.
What? Later, she went with some younglings to Ilum with Professor Huang, the droid, and Ahsoka, voiced by David Tennant, who we love. On Ilum, the younglings learned about making a lightsaber and having the kyber crystal actually called to them.
I really enjoy that, too, because you never really get... Kyber crystals are pretty much the most important piece to a Jedi because that's what gets your lightsaber going. And you never really, there's legends and stuff. So seeing the younglings go and hunt their own Kyber crystals and how they call to them, these are those things that Star Wars
one kid had issues, right? Like it took him a while to find the Kyber crystal, or the one that was speaking to him.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the beauty. Again, the fourth. These are the beautiful moments that, and so many of these beautiful moments that I love center around Ahsoka. She's such a, her and Obi-Wan, in my opinion, are probably the two most, you know, when you think of Jedi, they live and breathe the Jedi code to a certain degree. Ahsoka, a little like,
I think Ahsoka's more aware of what the Jedi are. I think Obi-Wan Kenobi is a little like, he drank the Kool-Aid.
He did. But at the end of the day, they both are there for the next generation of Jedi and to train them. And they just want peace and they believe in the Republic at the end of the day.
I feel like Qui-Gon and Ahsoka would have been on the same page. Because like they were both very aware of the Jedi and the good they could do, but they weren't naive to the downfalls of the Jedi.
No, and that's what I've always took issue with, is because the Jedi were so blinded to their own faults, and that's why they fell. And so you need people like Qui-Gon and Ahsoka. You do. Anyways.
Okay, so one of the things that made Anakin lose faith in the Jedi is when Ahsoka was framed for bombing the Jedi Temple. Anakin never believed it for a second and defended her, but the Jedi were definitely quick to attack. The Jedi stripped her of her Padawan status and kicked her out of the Order. Anakin actually got to the bottom of it and found out that it was Jedi Barriss Offee. And that was Ahsoka's friend. The Jedi did acquit Ahsoka, but the damage was already done, and she decided she was done. She turned down the offer to rejoin and walked away. And that really hurt Anakin, though, because Anakin felt like he couldn't leave. But he was mad at
his ascension to the dark side.
No, this was, I think, a huge contributing
Jedi
factor.
messed up, man. Oh, yeah. His very first Padawan, who he fought, for all of the things that Anakin does, he saves so many lives. He gives his all in this Clone Wars, right? And they never trust him. And so for them to even turn their back on his Padawan and not listen to him and not have the trust of him, and then it comes to find out that, hey, they're wrong. And, even Mace Windu doesn't so much as even apologize, barely.
He doesn't have that in him.
Yeah. No, it's the hubris.
It's like, if these allegations prove to be correct, then we will trust you.
That's, again, like, oh my God, it's so frustrating. Now we're back on the back of a speedy junkie bike. Ahsoka retreats to Coruscant Underworld before crash landing, which left her stranded on level 1313. And thanks to a kind offer from a mechanic named Trace Martez, Ahsoka was able to begin making repairs and then became friends with her. However, Ahsoka quickly learns that not everybody saw the Jedi as heroes in the war, and Trace and her sister Rafa were doing some shady things to survive, which got all three of them in a Pike prison on Obadiah. To escape, Ahsoka had to save the Martez sisters and herself while trying to hide her Force abilities and her past. Now, Ahsoka and Bo-Katan had previously met when Bo was on Death Watch. Ahsoka was a Jedi. There was a lot going on there. Pretty intense stuff, actually. I believe that's when Ahsoka cuts off the heads of one of the Death Watch, and it's pretty freaking intense, man. Now, they were more enemies than friends. However, they both quit those groups, found Space Jesus, and then they team up and become happily ever after because they had a common enemy, and the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and that is Darth Maul. So watch the condensed version.
Yeah, this is just a condensed version of what we did last week in the last 4 episodes of Clone Wars, which takes place during Revenge of the Sith. Annie and Obi-Wan, they finish up their mission on Urabana, and then Anakin gets a notification that somebody named Fulcrum is using his frequency. Fulcrum is very important. They think it's Saw Gerrera, but no, it is Ahsoka, which I think is so funny because obviously she keeps using that, and Anakin knows that code. So Annie is thrilled and shocked to see Ahsoka. He learns that she contacted him because they found Maul. Anakin sees, this is fate. This is why Ahsoka left the Jedi, so that she could find and capture Maul for good. Ahsoka does not greet Anakin as warmly as he does her. And Obi-Wan still continues to be all diplomatic, and he's like, oh, no, we have to do things by the book. We need to get, an okay from the Jedi before we actually help you with these Mandalorians that are attacking Mandalore. Well, Anakin wants to help, even though they get called to go fight General Grievous, so he actually basically promotes Rex and says, Rex, you and some of the 501 First can stay here, you can help all them. So that's what they're going to do. Obi-Wan does give her the heads up. Hey, last time I thought I killed Maul, it didn't work out so well. He just keeps getting new legs. And so make sure you capture him, don't kill him.
Lieutenant Maul, you got no legs.
Well, I posted the picture of the past.
He goes
Ross Pitt has the With the Rock Pit beer had the one with Darth Maul, and he had malt legs, and
Yes.
Forrest is sitting next to him on the label. Like, Darth Maul, you got malt legs. So the battle begins on Mandalore. Ahsoka finds Maul, who was hoping for Kenobi. Maul tells Ahsoka that soon the Jedi and the Republic will no longer be controlling interest, yada, yada, yada. We've heard all that. She doesn't really buy it. She doesn't listen to it. It doesn't matter anyways. Obi-Wan tells Ahsoka...
off Ahsoka's future here or something.
Well, because we did this.
We got 5 credits. 5 credits. Okay, 5 credits. No, 6 credits. Oh, I got 6 credits. 6 credits to Maul. 6 credits to Maul.
Because we covered this last week, so I'm just trying to do it very condensed because we can't skip this. It's a huge part of Ahsoka.
Basically what happens is Ahsoka and Maul fight, and they capture Maul. Ahsoka is on the ship.
But they both get a sense of the shift of the dark side.
They sense the Force come through. Now, this is when Order 66 kicks off. They're on the ship. The clones start to kill, but not before Rex warns her to go find fives. And so Ahsoka does that, realizes that her chip. She stops the inhibitor chip. Rex and her fight the way. They crash land on the planet. All the clones are dead. Maul escapes. He's gone. And that's when Ahsoka leaves her lightsabers, leaves. Darth Vader comes years later, finds her lightsabers, dead bodies. We look up, sees the owl. Yeah.
And we know, like, yeah, now I'm just
I love that we just, like, straight up went,
Matt does not like my auctioneer speed.
Oh, I felt like I had to start throwing dollar bills at my screen.
So I'm just trying not to bore people. We're like, come on, man, we heard this last week.
We heard this. Or
but if you didn't listen last week and you're here, you need the full Ahsoka story. That's a big part of Ahsoka's journey.
Okay? Come on, man.
That's true. Go listen to that. So if you want to hear the non-auctioneer version of that with more details...
Lots of details. Many details. Some say the best details.
Oh, Jesus. So Tales of the Jedi Episode 6, we're back to Tales of the Jedi, Resolve. So this actually takes place before the last episode of Clone Wars, or that last scene.
Yes.
We talked about this last week, too, with Bail Organa and Mon Mothma are at the funeral of Padme Amidala, and Ahsoka's there, but she's hiding. Bail tells her, you shouldn't have come, and there was nothing she could have done, but Ahsoka says Padme was her friend. Bail then gives her something for Ahsoka to be able to contact him if she needs to. This is very important. This is more important than people... I feel like all these tales of whatever are so much more important than they seem when we're watching them.
They really do.
So she goes back to her ship where Rex is waiting, and they fly off, and Bail, like, gives her the thing, and she at first says don't take it, and then he gets like cornered by stormtroopers, and he's talking to the stormtroopers like, if you need help, make sure you call me. And they're like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, we're just here to tell you not to be here. But obviously he's talking to Ahsoka. So that scene actually leads us directly into the book Ahsoka the Novel by E.K. Johnston. I'm going to plug my review real quick if you want my full review. It's on nerdinitiative.com. Just search a book review, and you'll see all of our book reviews.
Or it could be in the link of this episode, that too.
It could be there too. Who knows? But nerdinitiative.com. That's where you'll find all your comic recommendations every Wednesday, and some of your book reviews.
Believe it or not, we don't actually get paid for Roosevelt's, Her Universe, or Nerd Initiative. So you're welcome. You got all that for free, folks. And even that's why Lauren had to auction off that section of Ahsoka, because we don't make any money.
That's true. We're like the worst bounty hunters ever.
We are the worst.
We're bounty hunters who never
for the
collect
6
a bounty.
people who listen.
Thanks, Mom. Okay, so that short scene in Tales of the Jedi. Oh, I just said that leads right into the Ahsoka
You're in your book. Don't tell us this. Tell us about the book. Tell us.
The novel, it's so freaking good. It shows what she was doing between Clone Wars and Rebels. So it kicks off with a flashback of Clone Wars, and it actually shows that she was hiding following Order 66. And it actually, the first flashback is that very end scene of Clone Wars where she's staring at all. Yeah, it's very beautiful.
I can't live through that heartbreak again. Oh, my Lord. Please. It hurts.
So her and Rex decide to go their separate ways to be safe. Alone and trying to live a normal life, she goes by the name Ashla. So they wanted people to assume that they were both dead, which is why they chose to go their separate ways. She even left her lightsabers, like we said, near that mass grave. These were the lightsabers that Anakin had actually given back to her shortly before on Mandalore, and the ones that Vader finds, like we said. As Ahsoka is hiding, she makes friends and a life for herself, only to have the Empire show up on the planet she's hiding. She then, of course, finds herself fighting the Empire as they try and ruin the planet she is living on, because they're draining the resources to make, like, the military food caplets. Given no choice, she ends up showing her Jedi powers, making her an obvious target. Oh. Senator Bail Organa is looking at a report about this planet as he heard about the Jedi. A very young Leia is in the room, and this had to be, because they make it very...
This sounds important.
So they make a comment in the book of like Bail like researching this and looking at Leia, and because the whole thing is Ahsoka had also come in contact with a child she thought had Jedi powers, and they knew the Inquisitors were now hunting down these kids. So I'm assuming they didn't spell it out, but Bail's looking at Leia thinking this kid very well might have Jedi powers. Will they come for my daughter one day? Because obviously he knows who her father is. I don't know if you know this, but her dad was Anakin Skywalker, a very powerful
Dude, what the
Jedi.
hell? Spoilers, I haven't gotten a Return to the Jedi yet.
So he deletes the report and he contacts Captain Ramus Antilles to get R2-D2 for a mission. Meanwhile, the Inquisitor known as the Sixth Brother is looking for this Jedi. When he finds Ahsoka, she of course kicks his ass. He dies.
Oh yeah.
She takes his 2 red lightsabers.
Oh yeah.
Meditates.
Don't stop.
And heals those crystals, turning them white. So now she again
That's the origin stories of her white lightsabers.
has 2 white lightsabers. I was
dope.
so excited when I read that. So as things settle, Bail tells her he's putting together a rebellion. I was about to say that like Samuel L. Jackson. I'm putting together a team. Or Mace
I thought
Windu,
you said,
might you say.
what was it that Tony said? I'm just a, instead she says, I'm just a citizen.
She tells him her new friends want to join, actually, and then she realizes she can't just hide. So she's down. She's ready for the rebellion, especially when he says he wants to protect Force-sensitive kids. Senator Organa officially inducts Ahsoka into the rebellion, and what does she tell her to call, or what does she tell him to call her? Fulcrum.
Oh.
Dun dun dun. So lead us into Star Wars Rebels. She's only in 14 episodes of Rebels, so that was easier.
Oh yeah, she's not that time.
I actually watched all of this, whereas Clone Wars I had to find the condensed version. Thank you, StarWars.com.
In Rebels, the codename Fulcrum keeps coming up. Fulcrum is providing info to different Rebel cells throughout the galaxy. This Fulcrum, quotes, is working for the network that Bail Organa and Mon Mothma, aka Mommy, have set up. So of course Fulcrum and Ahsoka, or is Ahsoka, excuse me, one and the same. Oh, gosh, that's amazing. I hope... Oh, never mind. She is providing info to the Rebels and the Ghost crew. I was going to say, I really hope that we can get more series after Andor where it's the building of the rebellion and how we get more really raw rebellion type stories and shows from Star Wars.
I think that other book I'm about to start is about that.
Well,
I think it's Mon Mothma and Bail Organa.
Mothma together? Oh, my... Oh, nut. Like, instant... Oh. God.
X-rated.
Anyways, she shows up in person in season 1, episode 15, Fire Across the Galaxy. Ahsoka stayed in the shadows until Kanan and Ezra sent out a message for help. So she shows up in person while fighting with the Ghost crew against the Empire. Ahsoka senses something strong. Her and Kanan together reach out to the Force, and as Ezra says that he feels it, cold, dark, strong. This is when we see Vader say the apprentice lives. Ahsoka screams, passes out. She seems to realize his dark force in the Empire. This dark force in the Empire is her former master, Anakin Skywalker. Ahsoka, however, still claims that she does not know who it is. It's more of denial, like a lot of people kind of are.
She feels it. She knows it. And then when she wakes up, she's like, I don't know what that was or who that was.
Wow.
You know Ahsoka.
Now, Ahsoka and Rex, reunite in Rebels in a very tender, sweet moment as Rex is also working with the Ghost crew. Man, everyone out here, a lot of ghosts.
I don't want to say anything because I haven't finished Andor. Okay.
Ahsoka and the Rebels then go on a mission to rescue Force-sensitive younglings before the Inquisitors get them. Something Ahsoka did with Anakin at one point in Clone Wars. They rescued the children. Yes!
Woohoo! Mission accomplished.
We then see Ahsoka watching a hologram of Anakin as she tells Ezra how good, powerful, strong, and caring Anakin was. Ezra asks what happened to him. She says the last time she saw him, he was running off to save the Chancellor, and the Jedi were then defeated. Now, tough luck, buddy, as Kanan, Ahsoka, and Ezra struggle to figure out how to defeat these Inquisitors and essentially Darth Vader. Ahsoka mentions that this would be a time in the past that she would seek out Obi-Wan or Yoda for advice. Kanan responds, "Let's go ask Yoda."
She's like, what?
Yeah, she's very confused. They go to a Jedi temple, which the last time they were there, Yoda reached out to them. So the three decide to meditate and hope that it happens again. Ezra then asks about Yoda, and Ahsoka talks about the Jedi that she knew and how the Clone Wars changed him. Ahsoka then has a vision, which is actually Anakin Skywalker, asking Ahsoka where she is when he needed her. In the vision, he turns into Vader. They do eventually make contact with Yoda, telling them to go to Malachor. This is when things get really spicy, folks. because Ahsoka gives Rex an update, and he's very concerned about Ahsoka, prompting Ezra to wonder.
Why so worried?
We then learn that Malachor is off limits to Jedi. Once they arrive, Ezra touches something that he shouldn't have, and they fall
kids,
into a
man.
Sith temple because kids just don't listen when you say we don't. Kids, don't touch.
Look, don't touch.
They never listen.
That's how you end up falling into Sith temples.
Yes, and their goal is to ultimately learn about their enemy so as to defeat them. This is when they are then attacked by an Inquisitor. Chopper comes to the rescue. We love our
Best
little war
droid
criminal.
ever. Sorry, R2.
Yes,
You're second
the
best.
Inquisitors are hunting a shadow. The shadow is actually Maul, who is a frail old man, telling Ahsoka he is only Maul now and not Darth Maul.
Darth.
He then helps them. Maul and Ezra get to the Sith holocron, and Maul says Vader will be here soon. However, Maul tries to corrupt Ezra, ends up blinding Kanan. This gets really friggin' intense, folks.
Did
Vader
you
shows up.
believe Maul, though? Because I did kind of like start to feel for Maul, because Maul... Because it was like if Ahsoka had listened to Maul at the end of Clone Wars, could things have been different?
Oh, they absolutely would have.
He proved that he was still not trustworthy in this.
So I do, to a degree, feel as though initially Darth Maul, on both instances, the Clone Wars and this, started out with good intentions. Now, of course, they were always going to have their beef. There was going to be some beef to wrap up, but I think it was one of those, we need to fight to stop the greater bad guy before the greater bad guy completely wipes all of us off the galaxy map and everybody's living in just absolute shambles. And then we can settle our beef after. It was more of those like, we'll settle our beef after this. Mm-hmm. But right now we have a bigger enemy to fight. And
right. When I think in him and Hondo were so similar where they were both just out for themselves, it just Maul had like greater, I guess, ambitions. But I mean, like Ezra fell for both of them.
Ezra's such a chump at this point in Rebels.
He's a child. He's a child.
He is, you know, and I do feel for him to a degree as well. But I do feel up until the point that they get to that Sith holocron, Maul had good intentions, but then he was seduced again to the dark side because he was already the dark side to begin with. I mean, I feel like he just fell back into old habits almost.
Ursula, once like she got Ariel's voice and it had been 3 days.
Yeah.
She like just
I do feel like that was one of those moments, and he just, you know, then Vader shows up. Ahsoka's ready to fight now. She tells Vader there's no way that he could be her master because Darth Vader's just cruel and a-hole. Vader says he destroyed Anakin Skywalker, to which Ahsoka says that she will avenge his death. Revenge
is not the Jedi way.
Oh, and she hits back. I am no Jedi.
I am no Jedi.
This fight is worth watching. If you have not watched it, I promise
so good. Oh, and it's foreshadowing Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, they literally did an Obi-Wan Kenobi what was already done this.
Yes, and this fight is awesome. They go saber to saber. She hears Anakin's voice as his helmet gets hit. So she's suddenly in a void, which is the space between space. Kanan and Ezra are forced to leave, feeling terrible for leaving Ahsoka. So they fight. She actually gets hits in.
Push them out. And keep in mind, too, Kanan has just been blinded.
He's blinded. Now, Ahsoka and Obi-Wan are the only two to really get hits in on Vader. And it's beautiful because Ahsoka obviously was his Padawan. She knows his fighting style. She gets hits in, breaks his helmet. I wonder how many helmets Vader had on tap.
I didn't think about that Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, his master.
They're the only two.
And his Padawan. That makes sense.
And that's when she realizes it really is, and she has to face the truth that it is Anakin Skywalker. And I always... anytime you see that broken mask of Anakin underneath, man, it does things to me. I can't explain it because his story is so tragic. Star Wars is so tragic at its core when done right. And the whole place collapses essentially, which we think she's dead as the two are still battling. Now it turns out that Ezra pulled her into the world between worlds. However, it's an older
years later.
Yes.
But this just happened to Ahsoka, but it's in the future for Ezra.
Future. So Star Wars does some weird time travel stuff. Ezra saw, Kanan's dead at this point.
They went into the quantum realm.
Essentially. Ezra wants to try and stop Kanan from dying. Ahsoka has to tell Ezra that he cannot, so that the kid has to watch him die again.
Heartbreaking scene. She's like, you can't interfere because you wouldn't be here now if Kanan hadn't done this for you. So Ezra's literally sitting there watching Kanan die again.
Yes, just
reignite the trauma.
Pops up like a horror movie and tries to go after Ezra. They run in different directions to different portals as Ezra tells Ahsoka to find me. She says that she will, and then in the finale it shows her and Sabine taking off after Ezra disappeared with Thrawn in order to save everybody else, which takes us to The Mandalorian.
I was going to sing this song, but I don't know the song. So now we jump to after the original trilogy. So we did the whole OG trilogy has happened in between Rebels and now Mando.
Yes.
So she's only in one episode of Mandalorian, season 2, episode 5, called The Jedi. So Din Djarin is looking for a Jedi to return the child to. He meets Bo-Katan, who says she can help after he helps her, of course, because that's what Mando's all about. She sends them to the city of Caladan on the forest planet of Corvus. There they'll find Ahsoka Tano and make sure to tell her that Bo sent you, which means that Ahsoka and Bo-Katan have been in contact since shit went down before.
I would love to get more of that, too.
100%. Yes, please. So we see Ahsoka kill a bunch of dudes who worked for Morgan Elsbeth, who's a really mean ruler. She is looking for Grand Admiral Thrawn, who is Elsbeth's master, but really she's looking for Ezra Bridger because she promised him she'd find him. So Mando finds Ahsoka and she meets the child. We don't hear them talk, but the two of them are communicating. They can feel each other's thoughts, and this is when we learn the child's name is Grogu. So Ahsoka is the one that told all of us that. And so many people had issues with that name, but how adorable was it every time Din Djarin said Grogu, and he's like, "Rrr." But how cute was it when he kept like responding to his name? It was freaking adorable. What do you want him to be called? Like John? Come on. So Ahsoka tells Mando that he was being trained as a Jedi and he was hidden when Order 66 was executed and he was taken from the temple. Ahsoka says the only
other than Ahmed Best.
Misa Sith. So Ahsoka says the only other being she's ever met like him was Master Yoda. So Ahsoka tests Grogu and decides he's just too attached to Mando, so she can't train him. She says she's seen what having attachment feelings can do to a fully trained Jedi, so she should just let Grogu's power, or he should just let Grogu's power fade. Side note real quick, the magistrate who wants to kill wants Mando to kill Ahsoka. So that's what she meets Morgan Elsbeth as the magistrate in the city, and she tells Mando, hey, go kill this Ahsoka person, and, I'll do whatever you need me to do. The magistrate, if she agrees to help Grogu, Brielle keeps texting me, sorry. He tells her, but also says he'll help her defeat Elsbeth, the magistrate, if she agrees to help Grogu. So sorry. Why does she keep texting me?
Please continue. Gosh, I'm on the edge of my seat.
Those damn kids. Ugh. So Mando and Ahsoka free the city.
It's 10 o'clock at night, also. Tell her to go to bed. I don't care if she's 12.
That's what it is. So what happens is, Mando's like, hey, she actually hired me to kill you, but, she doesn't seem very cool, so I'm going to help you, and we're going to free the city and whatever. And then Ahsoka's going to send somebody else, hey, I'll give you another reference to kind of try to help you. So Mando and Ahsoka free the city. Hooray! Elsbeth is arrested. Woo! Mando gets the Beskar steel spear, which becomes important. Despite helping her, though, she says she still can't train him. And he's like, what the hell, dude? You said you would if I helped you. And she didn't do that. But
she had her fingers crossed.
It was just that father-son relationship. She can't interfere. But she sends him to the planet Tython. There's a strong connection to the Force there, and Grogu can reach out through the Force and find another Jedi. And Ahsoka leaves and says, may the Force be with you.
Always. Always. Now, this is where we pick up the Book of Boba Fett. She's only in it one episode. From the desert comes a stranger. Mando visits Luke and R2 to bring Grogu his new Beskar armor that he made from the spear. Ahsoka happens to be there, and R2 brings Mando to Ahsoka instead of Grogu. We learn that Luke is creating a school there, and Grogu will be the very first student.
Right.
Now, Ahsoka tells Mando that Grogu is doing well, but she won't let him see Grogu. Mando claims that he just wants to see that Grogu is safe. Ahsoka shows him Grogu in the distance with Luke, convinces him not to see him, and as Grogu will miss him and, feelings and all that stupid Jedi crap. Sounds a lot like my dad. Hey, don't have feelings, kid, so you suppress it really down low and
just push it down. Like Elena says at the beginning of Thunderbolts, push it down.
Absolutely won't cause any issues in the future.
No, what's going to happen? Is somebody going to totally lose their shit and go dark side? No.
God. Mando leaves the armor with Ahsoka. He does see the ship, however. After Mando leaves, Ahsoka tells Luke that he's doing a good job teaching Grogu, which he responds that Grogu is remembering more than he's teaching. And Ahsoka responds, sometimes the student guides the master. She also tells Luke that he's so much like his father, then leaves Luke with the gift. Luke asks Ahsoka, will I see you again? She says, perhaps. May the Force be with you. We, of course, then see Grogu choose the Beskar armor over Yoda's lightsaber.
Which is the Beskar spear. I don't know if I mentioned that.
I would have loved to see Ahsoka and Luke just with their own Jedi Academy, man. Like, think of
I
the
mean, if
cool comic
Ahsoka was
books we
there,
could have right
Kylo
now,
Ren wouldn't have
too.
killed everybody. I would like to think that that Grogu made it out. I'm hoping we get that in the
Grogu's got to be
movie.
alive. You know, Ahsoka's got to be alive. Rey's still there. I hope they all team up and just create a new Jedi Academy so we can get some really fun kids comics and then just get some really, I don't know, just restart the Jedi Order again, man. Like, I'm tired of this. There's no more Jedi. Restart the damn Jedi
So
Order.
many Jedi. Well, I mean, okay,
Come
it's like
on.
Ahsoka said though, like let the power fade. So it's like how many kids showed powers and the parents just let it fade to protect their children.
That's
It's
right.
like you don't want to show their superpower because then they're
This
vulnerable.
would open up Cal Kestis to coming back. That, you know, we got Ezra still out there.
Cal
Sabine's
Kestis.
got Force powers. Rey, Finn. I mean, freaking Ken is coming into the universe now. He's going to be a Jedi. Ryan Gosling is Ken.
Oh, I'm like, who's
Yeah.
Ken? I'm
So
thinking Ken from ODP.
No.
from Nerd Initiative.
Ryan Gosling, you know, is coming into the universe
Yeah,
now as a
yeah.
Jedi.
I didn't
And
even
then
see that,
we got Jude Law and those
just
kids.
Ken.
Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, he's Force. Well, he's not a Jedi, but he's
He was a
yeah, they're all
Jedi.
Force sensitive. But
Yeah.
he was never a Jedi, wasn't he? Like,
He was a Padawan, so
but he was like a very like late to the world You know, they say that with everybody though. Oh, this kid's too old to train. This kid's too old to train. And then we meet Luke, who's like 18, and they go and train him
and Luke did just fine.
until he died from using the Force. Maybe
Just
if he had
go
started
on.
younger,
He's just going to the Ahsoka Disney Plus
he
show.
could have survived. Okay, so the Ahsoka show on Disney Plus. We're gonna wrap up here. Ahsoka continues to look for Grand Admiral Thrawn, but again, really Ezra. But also, Thrawn is causing rumors going around that sounds like he's gonna come back and bring back war because he's been gone since before the OG trilogy. So the Empire to
He's
him
making
is
the Empire
still,
great again, dude.
Don't talk about Thrawn like that. I love Thrawn.
Oh no.
So Ahsoka gets a map, and she's going after the prisoner, Morgan Elsbeth, to help find Thrawn. But sadly, Tooth Sis broke her out of prison, Shin and Hati's master, Balon's skull. And they also want the map.
Yeah.
So they're both looking for the map. But Ahsoka gets some help from Sabine Wren, who she's been Jedi training, but it didn't really go well. And now they continue once again to train, even if she ain't the strongest Jedi in the Force, and they're not afraid to tell her that.
That's to put it lightly.
So Ahsoka and Sabine do manage to unlock the map, but the evil droids working for the Sith and Elsbeth steal it, and when they are fighting the bad guys, Sabine actually agrees to go with them, while Ahsoka is knocked over a cliff and ends up in the world between worlds.
Yet again, man. Oh my god. This is badass though.
But this one's amazing.
This is cool. What happens next?
So while there, she actually sees Anakin, and he's there to finish her training, and he says,
Hayden
quote,
Christensen's back.
"One is never too old to learn, Snips," end quote. Hearing Hayden Christensen actually say Snips was super exciting because obviously he's not the one that voices him in the cartoon.
Matt Lantern.
But also this is Force Ghost stuff here. So this is actually him there.
That's him.
And he's aware of what he turns into. And yes. So, okay. So after some lightsaber dueling in the world between worlds, Ahsoka finds herself in a memory of the Clone Wars. A memory which showcases how brutal the Clone Wars really was, as well as how young she was when she was forced to fight a war.
Yeah.
Next memory is the Siege of Mandalore, which we just talked about the last 4 episodes, the last 2 weeks. And we get live action Rex, which just warms my heart so much.
Yes.
And not just the live action Rex we saw in Return of the Jedi. We get Clone Trooper live action.
We do.
Rex.
We do.
Oh, I want Rex live action. I want more of him so bad. So we see a still very young Ahsoka killing Malorians, and her and Anakin begin to fight there again. So this goes back to like memories and just Anakin and Ahsoka fighting. They're suddenly back in the world between worlds, still fighting, and Anakin even says, like, it's time for you to die. And Ahsoka says, no, I choose to live. She continues to fight for him. And Anakin then says, there's hope for you yet. And he disappears. Rescued by the New Republic / the Rebels, along with Hera and Jason, Ahsoka lives. So they actually, while she's having this moment in the world between worlds, Jason, who is Hera and Kanan's child, is clearly got some Force sensitivity in him. And he actually finds her where she was knocked off of the...
potential Jedi.
Exactly. Because she was knocked off of that cliff. Sabine did see that. So she's in the water. So Jason uses that Jedi power. Hera listens to him, and they pull Ahsoka out. But again, this was an unauthorized rescue mission because with the New Republic, they're still supposed to be following orders, and obviously this is all still going off book.
It is now. Ahsoka must find Sabine. So her and Hyung I can never pronounce it. Huang
David Tennant.
decide to Marlin and Dory travel via the mouth of a whale, or a space whale, aka Purgle. In this case, they get to the planet where Ezra and Thrawn are. The whales are not just providing speed, they also know where they went. Once on the planet, they see witches and they let Sabine go try to find her friend, and she does. Ezra's found. He's given up.
After years. He's been gone for years.
We do.
He's got a beard now.
Thrawn prepares for Ahsoka's arrival by telling his people to bomb the Purgles and to research Ahsoka. Upon learning that Anakin was her master, he tells everybody that she will be unpredictable. Side note, he worked with Anakin and Darth Vader in the Timothy Zahn trilogy, Thrawn, the newer one, and is fully aware of who Anakin Skywalker turns into. After getting attacked, Ahsoka reaches out to Sabine via the Force while she's just hanging out with Ezra, catching up. How you doing?
Some little turtle-looking dudes.
Yeah. However, the Dathomir witches find her coordinates and attack. This is when Ahsoka jumps out while Huang distracts the bad guys.
Can we just talk about that scene real quick? The way, Huang, continues to fly, and he's like, you're just, because the stormtroopers are chasing her ship, and so she's like, Huang's like, you're going to do it again, you're just going to jump out. She jumps out of that plane, and he continues to fly, and it looks real. The way she jumps out of that plane looks so good. It's
badass, yeah.
And I don't know if it's because I just saw Thunderbolts, and I did not like with some of the stunts they did with the Elena, but, Rosario Dawson looked phenomenal. I don't know how much was CGI, how much was her stunt double, or how much was strings. But that was a fucking awesome force.
Well, I know that, Florence Pugh actually jumped off that building. So I know that's real. But
that was real bad. And that was an awesome scene.
It was, yeah. Now, after getting attacked, Ahsoka reaches out to Sabine via the Force. They're hanging out. As the Dathomir witches find the coordinates, they attack. Ahsoka jumps out. Now, this is when she finds Ezra, who is with Sabine. They meet for the first time since they were in Rebels in the World Between Worlds. Yay!
It all comes full circle.
The last time that we saw Ahsoka was in the finale of the show. Everybody just wants to get away from this galaxy. Keep in mind, Thrawn and Ezra have been there since before A New Hope. Ahsoka struggles with her relationship with her Jedi Master. She tells Sabine that Anakin was always there for her. This is a nod to him not doubting her when the Jedi accused her. However, Ahsoka does still struggle to always be there for Sabine. She promises she will be there for her now. Ahsoka ends up defeating Morgan Elsbeth yet again. However, Thrawn escapes with a stowaway, aka Ezra, and Ahsoka and Sabine are now stranded in this alternate galaxy.
They just switched places, basically.
They did. It was the whole Parent Trap. But this is not before Thrawn tells Ahsoka via comms that he knew her master and concluded with she would behave similar. He then comments that she may end up like him and leaves it with "Long live the Empire." We then get a closing scene with Anakin's Force Ghost watching over Ahsoka and Sabine.
So heart-touching. So Ahsoka Season 2 is currently filming. So this was clearly not how they were going to end it. They did just switch him. However, I think the difference now is Ezra should have an idea of where they are because he was there. Whereas before they had no idea where he was for years and years. And that was, and that was the whole thing. Ezra couldn't defeat Thrawn. Right. So he's like, I'm just going to get you out of here. And it was the first time we ever saw Thrawn have any, look of fear on his face. My predictions for this show was Thrawn is so calculated. Thrawn does not run on emotion. He runs on intelligence and calculations. He doesn't give two craps about the Empire. He cares about what he thinks is best for him and his people, meaning his species. And I do think that there is still more to Thrawn we don't know. There are still more ulterior motives. But I hope they take the trilogy into effect when they continue the show. But, or, maybe if he's the reason why the whole galaxy goes dark side so quick again, that would make me better respect the sequel trilogy and why Kylo Ren maybe got so big so fast.
Maybe I would like Thrawn to be the actual villain of his own trilogy, but we'll see as well.
That would be amazing. But if he could just bridge.
What if they come back against the future and it's post Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker? I don't know. It won't be, but that would be cool. I don't know. Time's weird.
The last time we actually hear anything from Ahsoka, though, is Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. I can't even say it. Skywalker. So this never actually happened. The movie was snapped from existence. I was like, I didn't write that.
She read it, though. Well, you can't argue with that.
I did, because I started to read it and halfway through realized it was Matt's editing. So Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. when Rey is hearing all the Jedi, Ahsoka is one of them. Even if she is no Jedi, she's still one with the Force, and the Force is with her. I wrote such a
Yeah.
sweet comment, and you had to mess it up by saying
I
never
think
actually
it
happened.
was
This
just
movie was
great.
snapped.
It never happened. Now,
You want to
last,
wrap us up
but
with
certainly
Ahsoka's
not least,
owl?
Ahsoka's owl is Morai. Morai was a convor, also known as a Trandoshan bird, and it is her spiritual ties to the daughter, a force wielder from Mortis. That arc is amazing. Go check it out on Clone Wars. She appeared in various depictions of the force wielders alongside the daughter. It is believed by some that the convor in these depictions was a servant of the daughter or even a manifestation of the daughter herself in another form. Morai friended Ahsoka when the daughter transferred her life essence into her before she died. So now she accompanies and watches over Ahsoka, who says the bird saved her life. She has now shown up in the cartoons and the live action shows, including The Mandalorian. So that is our big, grand Ahsoka. Big, that's Ahsoka. We got you up there. So, Lauren, what's happening next week?
Next week, we're wrapping up Andor. So we have not really talked about any of the episodes. I think there's 9 episodes total. So we'll be breaking down all of that and, kind of just talking our thoughts and everything.
Well, the last 3 air also tomorrow night when this drops. And so we will might even talk the entire season. Yes, there's a lot to go through, a lot that happens that will take us up to
But is there more next week?
Yeah, there's 3 more. The finale is next week.
Oh my, I thought the finale was already yesterday. Okay. So we'll have to wait to watch it, and unless you want to do the Gorham Massacre next week and then do Andor the following
Either way, it's going
to... Those are our last 2 Star Wars episodes this month.
Surprise. Wow. Jeez, why you got to say that, man? May's already flying through. We've talked some Star Wars. If there's anything you guys want clarification on, questions, anything like that, go search Hopsgeek News.
Do you want us to do an episode on Bo-Katan? We'll do it.
We will do anything. We'll try anything twice. Come over here, hang out with us on social medias, Hopsgeek News. Thank you for hanging out. Make sure if you want to support the show, patreon.com/hopsgeeknews. Shout out to Riley, Corey, Lynn, Tabby, Scott, Patrick, Stacy, Jess, Tracy, and Micah who support the show. Everything goes back into it. And Star Wars Month is always a pleasure because we get to chat about good things. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. We will see you next week for some form of Andor talk. Cheers.